Hi there, welcome to my channel. If you're new, my name is Mary. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome home. So yesterday I did a very interesting short, and the short was on sex and teens. So probably if you've not seen it, you can check in my shorts, the ones that are just down there in my YouTube channel. And I had parents who came to my DM, and some who did send email, and the question was common, like how can they uh, come up with such a discussion, like how, what can they do. I understand that most of parents, and especially in Africa, they find it so hard to bring up the conversation on sex. But now the truth is, we all know that our teenagers are doing it. It is just obvious because they are so much informed. So, how can we bring up this conversation? Like, for example, schools are almost going on recess, and our kids are going to be home for around 2 weeks or so. So, as a parent, you can come up with a schedule. Just psych yourself, have the confidence, sit down with your children, and especially those ones that are at that have hit teenagehood. Talk to them, ask them, like, just let it be a friendly conversation. Ask them, what do they know, or what do they understand by sex. Is this something that their peers talk about? And if they do, what is usually the reaction of other peers around them? Because we all can agree that they do talk about it in school, out of school, in their different social media platforms. You cannot, by the way, rule that out, because we are the ones. There's a time that I talked about the use of smartphones. We are the ones who buy the smartphones, but we do not monitor. And because we do not monitor, and if you do monitor, then like you cannot do it like 100%. These children are always a step ahead of us. Ask them, do they have groups like WhatsApp where they talk about sex and all that? And you're going to realize that there is a lot that goes around, and they're so much informed. Now, the challenge to us as parents is for us to make them understand the right choices that they need to make around this, because of peer pressure. Your kid may be very innocent. Maybe this is a child who has been well brought at home, who has all the moral values, the Christian values, all that have been instilled in that particular child. But when they go out, they interact with other children that also come from a different background. And therefore, we need to strike a balance so that they are not influenced by their peers. So when you talk to them, and ensure that you create a friendly environment. If the environment is going to be hostile, if they'll feel like, this is not a discussion where maybe my parent wants to just have a friendly chat with me, they are not going to open up, and they won't. That one I promise you. But if you will know how to approach them, create a safe space. We talk about a safe space. What do we mean by a safe space? A safe space is a space where a person can express themselves without judgment. Because the moment you judge someone who has decided to open up to you or to have a friendly talk with you, then they're going to shut down. And once they shut down, then you'll not know what they know about sex. If you find it hard, because I understand maybe most of us will find it hard to have such a conversation with our own children. Probably you can use someone who is very close to them. This could be their elder sibling, or a relation, could be an aunt, an uncle, who they feel free around. Even sometimes you can get church leaders that can talk to them, so that they find out how much information that they have. So that, and then the other thing that I want to insist is that we want them to know that there's the right time for everything, so that they don't end up mixing or confusing themselves. This is not the time where they should be like active in sex matters. Rather, this is the time that they should be building their own future. So find a balance. What are you going to do as a parent? Because we need to rescue our children, and if we are not going to rescue them, then they're going to get the misconceptions that I talked about in my short yesterday. There's a lot of misconception around sex, and these are misconceptions that are fueled by teenagers among themselves. Like, for example, a girl can be advised, if you have sex and probably you go and, jump outside, you'll not get pregnant, the sperms are going to get out. Another misconception that is very common among teenagers is, after having sex, you can take maybe Coke, Fanta. I've had that because I interact with them. And you can imagine an innocent kid who is not informed, who is not knowledgeable. Once they are told that, what do you think they are going to do? If they are given an opportunity and if they have someone who is coming after them, do you think they'll just sit back without maybe giving it a try? So those are the misconceptions that we would like for such misconceptions to get out of their mind. Because if they're not going to think, if they're going to follow what their friends are telling them, then there's going to be a problem. So find a way. How are you going to help your teen? How are you going to bring out this conversation? Like, for the young ones, we can start preparing our young kids. Maybe at the age of 8, 9, as they are growing up and they are discovering, they're making a lot of discovery around them. Start by preparing them psychologically, a step by a step. Like, for example, you can tell them not to allow people to touch their private parts. And if someone does that, then make them know that they need to report. And who can they report to? Let it be first to you as the parent or the guardian. And once with such conversation, they'll grow up knowing that their reproductive systems or their reproductive organs is something that is private, and it is something that should not be misused. So don't be afraid. Let's talk, because if we don't talk, as I have always said, there is someone talking to them. And even sometimes you have adults who are mature, very old people that you think you can trust your children with. And these are the adults that can give them the wrong information. These are the adults that even can lead them or can mislead them and maybe tell them even to try or indulge in sex. So please, let's be very, very careful. It is high time as parents, and especially African parents, that we become so open with our children. It's not a taboo. Let us not be so afraid that this is a taboo. Like, how can I, come up with such a conversation with my daughter or my son? Let it not be a taboo. Because if you take it as a taboo and you're not doing something different, then what do you expect? Once this child becomes maybe a girl, like for the case of a girl, when she becomes pregnant, you will want to know who impregnated her. You will want to know other details. So before you reach at that point, why don't you just sit down with them and start having those friendly conversations? I've seen most of the parents nowadays, at least they are so open and they talk to their children. And a child who is informed is a child who is very confident. You cannot compare a student who is less informed to a student who is informed. A student who is informed, who has all this knowledge, then they are safe. A child who is informed on sexual matters, and especially from the parent, and when they are enlightened, they'll feel very free to interact even with the opposite sex. If it is a girl, she will interact with boys, but she will know the limit in which she can go. She cannot cross the lines because she has information. And once they have boyfriends and girlfriends, trust me, you will be the first person to know about it, because they'll come to you, because they feel free. They're so open with you, and they'll come to seek for your advice, like, what do you think about this? So please, parents, let us try as much as we can and have these open conversations. It's very, very important, and especially in this century. We are not in the past. Like, some of us growing up, our parents never had such conversations with us, because maybe they thought it was taboo, like it was, like, how can I have such a conversation with my child? But we are in a different generation, and therefore I want to challenge every parent to go out, speak to your child. I'd love to hear your comments in the comment section. Uh, your comments are going to be very important to me. Is this video impactful? What do you think about this conversation? Is it something that you're ready to do? And if you're not ready, tell us what your plan is. Thank you for your time and goodbye. See you.